Now on 767 News, Dominica's ascension to the appellate jurisdiction to be formalized on Friday. Dominica reportedly one of 2 Caribbean countries where an increase in cannabis herb production was noticed, and legislation for child abuse prevention to be reviewed. In sports, the ABA to host President's Cup tournament. Welcome everyone, I'm Alicia George and you're watching 767 News. Stay tuned for the latest news and developments happening across Dominica.
Count your Thursdays and win up to $24,000 in cash. For every $9 spent on Big 4, you get a raffle ticket to enter our weekly draws to win $4,000 cash every Thursday for 6 weeks. The more you spend, the more tickets you get, the better your chances of winning every Thursday. That's $24,000 in cash. So play Big 4, count your Thursdays and win up to $24,000 in cash. Only from the Dominica National Lottery. Promotion starts from February 24th to April 2nd.
Some call it money transfer. We call it helping him hit his first ever 6. MoneyGram, bringing you closer.
Welcome back everyone. In tonight's newscast, the ceremony to mark Dominica's ascension to the appellate jurisdiction of the Caribbean Court of Justice, CCJ, is set for Friday, March 6, 2015. The ceremony will begin from 10 a.m. and will be held at the State House Conference Center. President of Dominica, His Excellency Charles A. Savaria, Prime Minister, the Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit, President of the Caribbean Court of Justice, the Right Honorable Sir Dennis Byron, and other local and regional dignitaries and officials will be in attendance. The CCJ is an important instrument of integration and our own independence because we now have a court that has been designed by ourselves, managed by ourselves, and of course indicating to the world that we are mature enough to handle our affairs in every facet of our development, Prime Minister Skerrit said according to a press release. Prime Minister Skerrit described the passage of the bill to amend the Constitution to facilitate the establishment of the CCJ as the final court of appeal in Dominica as a historic day for Dominica, stating that Dominicans will have greater and much easier access to justice. The ceremony to mark Dominica's ascension to the appellate jurisdiction of the CCJ will be broadcasted live via radio, television, and internet streaming, both locally and regionally. Dominica is the 4th country following Guyana, Barbados, and Belize to recognize a court in its appellate jurisdiction. In other news, work on the expansion project of the Public Service Training Center, PSTC, is expected to be completed by May of this year. This is according to Building Maintenance Officer in the Ministry of Public Works, Shaka Dangleben, who is the supervisor of the Public Service Training Center project.
At the moment, what we are doing now, we are building the lift shaft and the staircase. That is about 40% complete. We are currently renovating what was the 2nd floor. That was the training center department. There we are going to be doing offices, a computer lab. And then on the 3rd floor, we will be moving the conference rooms. The conference room that was on the 2nd floor, we'll be moving it to the 3rd floor. We'll have a grand conference room that can seat about 150 people sitting, and if let's say in a conference area, but let's say you have a meeting, it could hold close to 200 people. Then there will be a smaller conference room and then a video conference room on that same floor. So in a sense, there will be free large rooms on the third floor.
Dangleben said the contractor is currently working on the internal walls in addition to the electrical works and have begun plastering some walls.
The completion date is May 1st. The contractor has been urged to speed up the works because he needs to keep. So he has ensured us that he will do his best to complete on time. But at the moment, we're still about 65% complete, but they have a lot of finishing works to do. A lot of the rough works has been done already.
He said the main component presently is behind schedule is the completion of the lift shaft, which is needed for the elevator to be installed in the building. The project supervisor said it is hoped that the contractor will increase the number of laborers working on the project, which will aid in meeting the May 1st deadline.
We'll be doing some works on basically every level of the building. We have to do an entrance from the lift shaft to the first floor, an entrance from the lift shaft and the staircase to the second floor, the third floor and fourth floor. So what we're doing with the lift shaft is connecting the entire building. So we will have that staircase that is between the immense building and the post office building. That staircase will be basically the main entrance for people going up to the fourth floor. And the workers for the post office, which is the first and second floor, can use there as well. So what used to be the entrance for the extension center, which is towards the northern end, that will then become a service entrance. So there is in fact a lot of work being done on the building.
He noted the ceiling leaks the building previously suffered from will also be repaired, in addition to a new air-conditioned system on the second and third floors. The project, which began in October of 2013, is estimated at EC $3.7 million. Unique Construction is a contractor for the project. And Dominica has been reported as one of 2 Caribbean countries where an increase in the production of cannabis herb has been noticed. In Chapter 3, Section 4 of its analysis of the world situation, the International Narcotics Control Board, INCB, of 2014 states that an increased production of the drug has been noted in Dominica and St. Vincent and the Grenadines in particular. The report also states that Jamaica remains the largest illicit producer and exporter of cannabis herb in Central America and the Caribbean. The INCB 2014 report showed that Jamaica accounts for approximately 1/3 of cannabis herb produced in the Caribbean. The report explained that owing to its geographical location and weak governing institutions, the Central America and the Caribbean region continues to be exploited by local gangs and international organized criminal groups as a transit and transshipment route for illicit drugs originating in South America and destined for consumer markets in North America and Europe. Local consumption of illegal drugs also appears to be growing in many countries of the region, in addition to security challenges associated with the drug trade, including high levels of violence, money laundering, corruption, and other illicit activities are pressing issues for countries of the region, end quote. The report also indicates an increase in cocaine trafficking and shipment in the Caribbean. Just Tuesday, the Jamaica Parliament gave the go-ahead to amend the Dangerous Drugs Act, making possession of 2 ounces or less of marijuana a non-arrestable, ticketable offense that attracts no criminal record. And in other stories, the Office of the National Authorizing Officer, NAO, on Wednesday donated 10 30-inch stoves to the senior leg of the 4-H Club under the Youth Development Division of Dominica. National Authorizing Officer Caroline Roberts said the donation was made to encourage greater participation in the 4-H Club's 7th annual dinner plate competition under the Banana Accompanying Measures BAM initiative. The overall objective of the BAM is to achieve sustained growth in production and export of the agricultural sector.
With resources from BAM, 10 30-inch stoves were purchased in order to be utilized for training activities for the 4-H clubs and other youth development programs on an ongoing basis. This will ensure that the clubs have access to good quality cooking stoves, which would be used at 7 schools and 2 at the Youth Development Division's youth centers, as well as a center where adolescents learn to love and serve. calls.
The BAM will also support training for the clubs in preparation for the competition. Roberts said they are pleased to partner with the 4-H senior clubs as the NAO shares the goals and objectives of the 4-H club movement. The NAO, she said, recognized how the annual dinner plate competition provided an excellent opportunity to highlight how agriculture can impact and make a meaningful contribution to food security, culinary arts, tourism, and creativity beyond mere production.
In order to showcase original and inventive competition, BAM will also support the live broadcast of the final event. It is hoped that the EU's contribution will reinforce the objective of the dinner plate. That is, create opportunities for senior 4-H clubs or clubites between the ages of 12 to 18 years to develop their culinary skills and to sensitize them and the general public on the need and methods to utilize local agricultural food items for economic enrichment and health benefits.
The activity will comprise of zonal competitions and the finals, where prizes and awards will be given to winners at the awards ceremony following the final competition on Saturday, April 15th. Meanwhile, coordinator of the 4-H club, Shirley Alexander, said the clubs will concentrate on focused crops such as banana, plantain, citrus, small ruminants, cocoa, and pineapples, as the 4-H committee recognizes the need to get involved in more aspects of agriculture.
We thought it would be a good idea to request from BAM some stoves that each school could have, and throughout the year they would have training programs, fundraising activities, and whatever it is in preparation for the competition, and also to upgrade their club in any way for the finances of the clubs, and just to get our 4-Hers more skilled in the area of cooking and culinary arts, because many of them are really interested in that. And like one of our main advisors, Mr. Leonard Lewis, says, we're still lacking in Dominica in relation to chefs, people who can really handle themselves in the kitchen.
The handing over ceremony took place at the Goodwill Secondary School during one of the zonal competitions leading up to the finals. The 4-H Club of Dominica consists of 10 senior clubs and 54 junior 4-H clubs, and the stove cost near $36,000. Welfare officials calls for the child abuse legislation to be reviewed, and health officials monitor chickenpox case. More details of these and other stories when 767 News returns.
Some call it money transfer. We call it helping him hit his first ever 6. MoneyGram, bringing you closer.
Welcome to Court's Digital World, where we have the widest range of digital products from the world's best brands: televisions, tablets, laptop computers, mobile phones, and much more. Connect, explore, engage.
Welcome back. Enactment of new legislation and reinforcement of current laws governing child protection in Dominica was of top priority at a one-day child abuse prevention workshop for media practitioners on Tuesday, March 3rd. The workshop, which sought to highlight the media's role in child prevention, focused also on the challenges and hindrances of effectively dealing with the perpetrators of child abuse, specifically sexual abuse in Dominica. Martin Anthony, consultant with the Welfare Division and former Chief Welfare Officer, said he has made several recommendations, including a review of the Child Protection Law of 1998, which currently governs cases of child abuse. Gemma Azil Lewis, coordinator of Child Abuse Protection Unit, agreed with Anthony, stating that we are now in the year 2015 and a lot has changed since the last review. Anthony and Lewis said they have worked together and have brought forth a number of recommendations to the authorities, but to date nothing has been done to facilitate their requests, adding to the challenges faced by the department. Azil also pointed out the Welfare Department's lack of technical and human resource, among other hindrances.
Weak enforcement of existing legislation. For example, if you have that somebody is found guilty of a sexual offense and you can take up to 25 years or 14 years, why is it that you only pay a fine of $3,000? Why is it that you only take maybe a prison confinement of 3 months or 6 months and do community service for the rest? Okay? So this is one of the things. Absence of a family court, and sometimes we can say because of this, we can see that some of these sexual offenses, it takes a while before the case actually reaches to the High Court. Parental attitude to abusers. They refuse to testify. Or they take bribes. And these issues, we hear about them. All of a sudden, the cases starts very good. They come to us at Welfare Division. They speak to us about the matter, both parent and child. It goes to the police, give a statement to the police. But all of a sudden, when the court date comes, nobody shows up.
To this end, the department has submitted the inclusion of a law which will state that as long as there is an initial report or statement from the victim, it can be used as evidence whether or not the victim refuses to testify in court. This act will seek to lessen the incidences of bribes and monetary contributions during child abuse cases. Azil additionally called for more support from hospital staff as it relates to the reporting of possible child abuse.
Some persons feel that this is not mandatory. So I do not have to, I'm not compelled, I'm not obligated to send any information.
While we will try to see how we take care of persons who are receiving bribes and the case just dropping like that, it's possible that persons will look for ways and means of coming against that.
And in related stories, Chief Welfare Officer Leroy Morvan has advised members of the media fraternity to refrain from the practice of sensationalism when reporting on child abuse incidents or trials. Morvan made the statement during the opening ceremony of a one-day media practitioners workshop held on Tuesday in the National Development Foundation of Dominica's building.
On the question of reporting child abuse incidents and provisions of law, I will not venture into what the laws of Dominica prohibit, as there is a presentation on that matter. I, however, wish to say that media practitioners should always be mindful of what should and should not be reported, and if reported, the manner in which those reports are made. Morvan said while the media practitioners have a duty to report, they should not allow sensationalism to override the best interest of the child. He stated once stigmatized, a child who is already victimized and traumatized could have to live a life with a tarnished image. It has been opened in various quarters that the media should play a greater role as advocates for children. Some self-examination is required on the part of every media practitioner and also administrators of media establishment as to whether a more proactive role should be taken on the issue of being advocates for children. Advocacy for and on behalf of children should not be limited to highlighting in the media a news story about a child which has caught national attention. While the role of the media is to inform, one may also ask, what about a feature or documentary on domestic violence and its impact on children or children who are at risk because of migration of parents, or still the impact which non-maintenance of children by parents could have on them? The workshop was organized by the Social Welfare Division and the Child Abuse Prevention Unit under the theme Media as Advocates for Children. And the Ministry of Health, MOH, says there is no need to panic following the recent presence of chickenpox in a primary school on island. Chief Medical Officer Dr. David Johnson said since the disease was detected, the parents of the children of that classroom have been advised on the measures they should take.
Chickenpox actually is caused by a virus as well. It is spread. It generally affects small children. It is spread usually through sneezing, through cough, and through contact as well. So if you have chickenpox, and most persons know when someone has chickenpox because you have this typical blisters, as we call it, or eruption all over your skin, and it's very, very characteristic. And it is always advisable when children have chicken pox that they stay away from school, and stay away from school for at least for that period in which they are very, very infectious. Children are usually infectious 1 or 2 days before they actually have the actual rash or blisters on their skin.
Dr. Johnson said children who contract chickenpox will also remain infectious at least 10 to 14 days following the disappearance of the skin infection. He said this means during that period, the disease chances of spreading to other children is at an all-time high.
We don't have complications as a result of that disease, a childhood disease. Most children will recover within 14 days. Some people go sick up to 21 days. The skin infection is what usually lasts a little longer. But sometimes you could have the infections getting, the skin lesions, I should say, getting infected with bacterial infection, and that's when it becomes a little more dangerous, because if you have all of these lesions on your skin, eruptions and blisters on the skin, and then it becomes infected with a bacteria, then it means that the children need to seek further medical attention. They're going to have to need antibiotics to treat the secondary bacterial infection. Otherwise, it's simply a matter of treating them symptomatically.
The chief medical officer said one should take Tylenol or paracetamol for the fever associated with chickenpox, drink a lot of fluids, and use calamine lotion to reduce the itching of the skin. Dr. Johnson said no student of the school where the disease was detected has been admitted to the hospital for treatment, so there is nothing to be alarmed about.
I think the school acted very, very proactively. The school is working very closely with the Ministry of Health in terms of the public health intervention. And one of the public health interventions, as I said, is to ensure those children who are sick stay home, and those children who are actually exposed in the classroom, we advise that they should stay home for the next 7 days. If they become sick, then they themselves should remain home for 14 days until they're not infectious. And I think within the next couple of weeks that the situation should be completely out of control. We have never had, as far as I recall, very severe cases of chickenpox.
The chief medical officer noted there is a vaccine for chickenpox which will prevent one from contracting the disease. He noted, however, that the Ministry of Health does not have the vaccine as part of their expanded program of immunization. However, it is usually sourced through private doctors and pediatricians. In other news, an activated warrant for default of payment of a fine and a 3-month sentence for theft is what Franklin Frederick of River Street received when he appeared in a magistrate's court on Wednesday. The repeat offender, with 5 previous convictions of theft, pleaded guilty to stealing $500 from his housemate Kelvin Phillip on March 1st. The facts indicated that Phillip had gone out with a bunch of friends, including Frederick, and after a night out, he went home, secured his $500 in his pants, and went to sleep. When he woke up the next morning, the money was missing and the defendant was not in the house. When Frederick returned home late that day, he confronted him about the money, and Frederick said he was not the only one who had taken the money, stating that he only took $60. Before sentencing, Magistrate Candia Correct George was informed by the prosecution that there had been a warrant out for Frederick, who had failed to pay a previous fine for theft, which carried a default sentence of 3 months in prison. That sentence was activated and will run immediately after he serves his 3-month sentence for his latest offense. He was also ordered to pay $500 compensation to Phillip by October 31st, or in default, another 3 months in prison. And that's it for local news. The latest in sports news is coming up next with Larry after this break.
Welcome to Court's Digital World, where we have the widest range of digital products from the world's best brands: televisions, tablets, laptop computers, mobile phones, and much more. Connect, explore, engage.
Hi, I'm Daryl Bob. I write and perform songs for my living. and I depend on Echo and organizations like Echo to collect royalties on my behalf whenever my music is played in public. Public meaning on radio, television, at concerts, shows, restaurants, and even here on Digicel Play. Because Echo has relations with over 200 societies around the world, I am guaranteed that whenever my music is played, I will receive my royalties. And that could be in France, Japan, Colombia, anywhere else in the world, to include the UK and the USA. Echo and the work that it does is essential to the livelihood of we songwriters so that we can continue to make the music that we all love and enjoy. As our friends on the motherland say, let the music pay.
Echo, protecting music rights.
Good evening and welcome to 767 Sports. In tonight's coverage, we begin with football. Petro Caribe Point Michel made it 5 wins in as many matches to remain unbeaten in Group 1 as action continued in the Division 1 League of the Dominica Football Association, DFA. Public Relations Officer of the DFA, Gerald George, has more details.
In the first match of a doubleheader, the Baffin State playing field last night, Sheriff defeated Gully Dream Team 1-0. Brian Nelson scored in the first half of play for Point Michel. In the second match of the night, Signman All-Stars hammered and some St. Joseph 7-1 to record their 4th win in as many matches in Group 3. Terry Jerome and Ryan Matthew both found the net back of the nets twice for man, with one each coming from Kimon John Baptist, Junior Lovell, and Alison Lovell.
The league continued earlier this evening with a match between RC Doctors versus Kinfield Football Club, followed by Element Agencies LA Stars versus Jays Limited Grand for Young Boys. In volleyball, another championship organized by the Sports Division in the Ministry of Youth, Sports, Culture and Constituency Empowerment has come to an end. This time it was the volleyball championships for the secondary schools, a competition which proved to be exciting and competitive for both the male and female teams participating in this year's championships. Both female and male finals were held on Tuesday, March 3rd at the grounds of the Dominica Grammar School. The first match was the female final between the Cassie Bruce Secondary School and the Portsmouth Secondary School. After a hard-fought and competitive match, it was the girls of the Portsmouth Secondary School who proved that they wanted the championship title a little more. They won the final competition with a score of 3-2 to walk away as champions of the 2015 Secondary Schools Female Volleyball Championship. Meanwhile, the boys of the Dominica State College had a much easier time in retaining their championship title when they won the match over the Northeast Comprehensive School with a scorecard of 3-0. In basketball, the Dominica Amateur Basketball Association, DABA, will on Saturday host its annual President's Cup tournament. President of the DABA, Udi John, said the event, made in honor of a past president, will take place at the Lindo Park in Goodwill from 8 p.m.
Last year we did it in honor of Edgar Robinson, who has served and continues to serve basketball well, and then as a past president. This year we are going to do it we're going to do the recognition of Val Coffey, who we all know is an individual who has given to Dominica in both in sports and in culture. And he was a past president, and we're going to do it in honor of him. We believe in giving people the flowers while they're alive.
John said in 2013, the first year of the event, Wilmore Leblanc was honored. The first runner-up of the First Division, the Fastcast Prowlers of Trafalgar, will face the First Division champions, the E.H. Charles crossover, on Saturday.
On Wednesday, we will have the second match of the tournament, Wednesday evening at 8, and that will be between the premier champions, which is Gatorade Blazers, now Detroit Blazers, and an Old School, Kyrie Old School. So those two teams will compete on Wednesday, and in the finals, the winners of the first two matches will play next week Saturday during the opening of the official opening of the season. And we're hoping to have the teams on parade during the opening, and there might be an exhibition game between the women players in the league, because as you know, the league has 3 divisions. It's the Premier Division for male, the First Division for male, and the Women's Division. And so we believe that we need to keep the women in the fore as well. And on the night of the opening, we'll have an exhibition game hopefully for the women, and followed by the finals of the President's Cup to mark the opening of basketball 2015.
The public is being urged to come out in large numbers to support the game. And in cricket, matches will continue this weekend in the various leagues of the Dominica Cricket Association, DCA. In the Digicel Augustus Gregoire Premier League on Saturday at the Benjamin's Park, it will be Marina Blasters versus Dubla United Stars, while at the Botanical Gardens, Summits will face the DCA Academy. In the Fort Young Dominica Cricket Association League on Saturday, it will be Nagico Northern Stars versus Mao United at Dubla, while on Sunday, Fashka Summits will face Gladiators, also at Dubla. And that's it for tonight's podcast. Tune in again tomorrow for more sports news.
That was Larry with the latest in sports. Now for a recap of tonight's headlines. Dominica's ascension to the appellate jurisdiction to be formalized on Friday. Dominica reportedly one of 2 Caribbean countries where an increase in cannabis herb production was noticed. And legislation on child abuse prevention to be reviewed. In sports, the ABA to host President's Cup tournament. And that's all the time we have for tonight. Until tomorrow, drop us an email at media@767news.dm. Friend us on Facebook and be sure to like our 767 News page. From all of us on the 767 News production team, I'm Alicia George, wishing you a wonderful evening, and thanks for watching.
Boom, Miss and it's my time to get on bad when I jam in at everybody. Come celebrate with me, but if you don't know me yet, don't worry, man, we go take a jam in a party. Yeah, put one hand in the air.